Okay, on to question 5. So 4 marks altogether, so 2 parts with two marks each. Okay, so we've got two functions we're given. We're given function f, r into r, where fx is x squared take 4. And then we've got function g, r into r, where gx is x minus 1, 4 times x minus 1 in brackets squared minus 4. All right, so the graphs of f and g have a common horizontal axis intercept at 2, 0. Find the coordinates of the other horizontal axis intercept of the graph of g. All right, so at this stage, we are interested in about the graph of g. So this commenting about that f and g have a horizontal axis intercept of 2, 0, and putting the f in there is just a distractor, because we're really not interested at this point in time in f. We're interested in g, is what we're interested in, and the other horizontal axis intercept. Well, okay, nice, you've given us one. We want to find the other, so it's actually whether we had this or whether we didn't, we'd approach it the same way. So horizontal axis intercept, horizontal axis is the x-axis, and the x-intercept occurs when the y value is equal to 0. So 0 would be equal to 4 bracket x minus 1 squared take 4. Add 4 to both sides. Divide by 4. And now we've got to undo the square root. Undo the square by square rooting. And so when we square root, we need to take the positive and the negative value, unless we've got some very good reason not to, i.e. we've got a restricted domain, which in this case isn't. So plus or minus 1, and then we would add 1 to both sides. So when we do that, we would get that x would be equal to 1 plus or minus 1, because the square root of 1 is 1. So we've got two x values, the 1 plus 1, which is 2, or the 1 minus 1, which is 0. All right, so now come back, check the question, find the coordinates of the other horizontal axis intercept. Well, the 2, 0 one we've been given, the other one is 0, 0. So me, just to be safe, I would just say the other intercept that's 0, 0, just to be completely clear, because you were given one and you were asked for the other. All right, move on to part B. So part B, let the graph of H be a transformation of the graph F, where transformations have been applied in the following order. Dilation by a factor of a half from the vertical axis, say parallel to the horizontal. Translation by 2 units to the right in the direction of the positive direction of the horizontal axis. State the rule of H. Give the coordinates the horizontal intercepts of H. All right, so now we need to forget about G. We're looking at F, and then we're doing some translations. All right, so translations, we're doing a translation and a dilation, some transformations is what I should say. All right, so let's start with, we've got fx, we're starting with that, and that is x squared minus 4. And so we've got a dilation of factor half from the vertical axis. So if you've got a from the vertical axis, that changes the x value. So the dilation is in front of the x here. All right, so it's f and it's 2x. All right, even though it's a half, it's normally x over the dilation. So x over a half is the same as 2x. So what we need to do then is we double the x first, then we take 4, which you can then expand that. And so you get 4x squared, take 4 if you like. That's just one. You don't necessarily need to do that. So that's the dilation. And now we've got to then do, after we've done that, we do a translation to 2 units to the right in the direction. So to the right, again, we're changing the x. And so that would then be changing the x. We've got this 2 here, and now we change the x. Whoops. And move it to the right is a minus. And so over here, we're going to change this here, this x. So you got 4, and then you got x minus 2 squared, take 4. And so there is that. And so I've done both of those 2 transformations, and that up here we're told that that's h. H is that the graph after those 2. So h of x will be 4 x take 2 squared minus 4. All right, so then what does it say? State the rule of h. There's h, I've stated my rule, and the coordinates of the horizontal axis intercepts. So the horizontal axis intercepts. All right, so that's the x-intercepts. So y equals 0. So 0 equals 4. X take 2 squared, take 4. Going to add 4 to both sides. Divide by 4. Take the square root, and remember as before, going to take plus or minus. And then add 2. So we've got x equals 2 plus or minus 1. So my intercepts are to take 1, which is 1, so 1 and 0, and to plus 1, which is 3, 3 and 0. And so there is our intercepts. All right, so just got to be a bit careful there when you're doing those transformations. Make sure you do them in the order that's been given. There's other ways that maybe you could write this out, but that's as good as any.